Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome everybody into Mafia Bets, the first episode ever of Mafia Bets on the Overreaction Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. This is a Bills Mafia-based sports betting show where we're going to talk to you about the Buffalo Bills matchup, the bets inside of that matchup. We're going to give you the ins, the outs, the whys, the why nots for this week's betting. In future shows, we will obviously talk about what we bet the week previous, what we looked at, what we liked, what we didn't like, how they turned out, the matchups, all that good stuff, and then why you should either hammer a bet or stay away as far away from it as you possibly can. My name is Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired, alongside my co-host for the show, Dan Frederick, who you can find on Twitter at Buffalo Freddy. Please do us a favor. Please please subscribe, whatever platform you are consuming this presentation on right now. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, whether it's on YouTube or it's as a podcast in post as audio only. But we are excited to have you guys here. Thank you for joining us for a show that we're very excited about here at Overreaction. But with that, let me introduce everybody to Dan Frederick. Dan, how are you?
Oh, we are great. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm really excited because I got a lot of good stuff for everybody here. We've done very well in the past. It's football season. The weather feels like football season. This is a season of destiny. Let's go.
Season of destiny, he said. Let's go. Big game, obviously, tomorrow for the Buffalo Bills. For us as Bills Mafia, hosting the Ravens at Highmark Field, the last home opener at Highmark Field. You're a season ticket holder. I'm a season ticket holder. We've been going to Bills games for a very, very long time. A lot of good stuff. Amped up, excited. There's probably people at the stadium already. The campers are probably already there.
Definitely are. Yeah.
All that good stuff. But yeah, so what we want to do is we want to break down what we're going to do real quick for you guys kind of on a weekly basis. This show is, again, a betting show, sports betting show around football, around the Bills, but also other NFL games. Dan is going to lead the way. He is our sports betting. I'm gonna call you a pro, Dan. I hope that's okay.
Pro, probably a lot better than the term expert, that's for sure. We've done very well, and I'm happy to educate everybody to think a little bit differently,
right?
To not act like the public does, which, in my opinion, I think Vegas knows how to beat the public as a whole, or anybody who's just taking flashy bets. I'm going to point out things that will help you make more money, plain and simple.
Yeah, very, very good. So what we're going to do is we are going to we're going to give you a couple Bills picks that Dan likes. We're going to do two other games, 2 or 3, 1, 2, 3 other games, picks from those games that Dan likes, the overreaction bet of the week, the underreaction bet of the week, and then the hammer bet of the week. And for this show and for this purpose, everything we bet is what we're going to define as a unit. We're going to bet 100 units a week so that there is some skin in the game. There's something real versus all the other shows that you watch. Dan, what is a unit in this instance?
So a unit can be anything that you bet as an average bet. For me, a unit is completely different than different people. In this situation, we're going to make a unit $1. We did it for simplicity. That is it. I am going to put $100 into the FanDuel account every single week. And I'm going to make my bets completely transparent for the public. I will share them in advance. I will share them after. If I do great, yay. If I suck, I'll hear about it. But we generally do not. We do pretty well here. I'm going to make it completely transparent for everybody to see. And I'm going to teach you guys, to the best of my ability, how to make money.
Very good. Well, as there were games 2 weeks ago, preseason games, which if you're betting preseason games, we probably have to have another conversation.
Backup running backs.
Backup running backs.
That's it.
But instead of doing last week's game, because we can't do last week's game as this is week 1 of the regular season, the big thing right now is futures, right? So heading into Sunday, a lot of futures betting, obviously Thursday and Friday's games as well. So why don't you tell us what you've kind of done, what you're looking at real quick with the futures before we get into this week's matchup?
Futures bets are generally season-long bets that are a majority of the time long shots, or they're based off of who's going to win the Super Bowl, who's going to be the MVP, who's going to be coming out of the AFC, who's going to have the most yardage for running back, for wide receiver, etc. I place a decent amount of futures bets, but I most certainly am not just placing parlays who've the exact Super Bowl, both teams, because those are extremely rare to get. I'm not going to place a bet that involves the defensive player or rookie of the year. defensive player of the year, stuff along those lines. Those are just hard to guess. There's so many players. Anything can happen. And also a season, an NFL season is 17 games plus the playoffs, but 17 games, injuries happen. You could have
Yep.
a Myles Garrett who's on track week 9 to be the defensive player of the year. You don't cash out the bet week 10, he goes down with injury, and it's going to be like JJ Watt at that point. So I don't really like
Right.
that much for that. I like long shots with futures. I like, as a whole, with betting, I don't like stuff that's really even money. I don't like just picking winners, because Vegas is going to have an edge against you if you're just picking the bright lights lines, the main over under. I like to take good odds with scenarios that can realistically happen. So if you're
Right.
getting 7-1, 8-1, 9-1 in a situation that is very realistic to happen, that's what I'm betting consistently over and over and over, Ben, with a lot of other things that we'll go over.
Gotcha. And we'll kind of cover those as we kind of go. I don't know if we'll have necessarily time for all the stuff that we've got planned for this show,
Of course,
as we don't want to keep everybody here for 2 hours, clearly. So on Thursday night, we had the, what was the game? The Thursday night, Eagles and Cowboys. Friday night, we had the Chiefs and the Chargers. You made a couple bets on those,
I've got
kind of
some
in
things for you
preparation for
guys.
this.
I can
Yeah.
certainly share. I'll briefly explain to you why I did what. Let's take a look here. So these are the bets that I took of the games that have already happened. And it's a little difficult since there was a Friday game this year, and we're doing this for the first time on Saturday, but I definitely did very well yesterday betting a Friday game and a Thursday game. Early season's easier to bet than the end of the season. It just is. Vegas catches up with lines. But here I will share exactly what we've done to date. Starting at this end of it. The first game I threw a little flyer on Philadelphia's defense plus 3,000. It didn't go so well, but generally I'm betting usually 3, 5, 10 units a bet. I only have 100 for the entire week, and I stuck to that to a T. So the first real bet that I put in was Jalen Hurts first half touchdown score. And the reason that I did that is because the public was on Jalen Hurts' entire game. The entire game odds were awful because that is the click button bet that everyone's on. I did the first half one because he does score a lot of rushing touchdowns, but it was substantially better odds, and that's what I care about. Then if you go up here, I have Javonte Williams over 41.5. Javonte Williams is a veteran running back who was starting on an offensive line that has 3 first-round picks in the last few years. 41.5 yards was his over-under bet for even money. I actually took it for different yardage later on as well. But I think that's just a great scenario for a running back. It hit. Look, if you take a look, I hit 2 legs parlayed, and I got plus 400. I won $10, 10 units by betting 2 units. We go on up here. The singular bet that I took so far in these 2 games that I did not hit was Dak Prescott over. And I created a scenario in my head. I write down all different ways the games can go. Every scenario that I had in this game involved Dak pretty much having to throw the ball for them to either be losing by a ton, which was likely, I thought. They could be losing a lot. He'd have to throw from behind. Or the only way they were winning the game is if he did very well through the air. It was a goofy game, but you pick a few different lines and you bet them across the board. And I had the next thing that I bet, the other bet I had this week was Jalen Hurts under 212 yards rushing, which most people don't take unders, but they're very, very, very profitable. And it seemed obvious to me that he was going to run the ball a little bit, which he did, that Saquon Barkley's on that team. They weren't playing a team that they were going to have to score 40 points against. So betting under his yardage made a lot of sense. And then we went to the Kansas City Chiefs game. We blasted that game. I mean, we crushed it. Quentin Johnston last year, he had the last 5 games of the year, 4 of them, he was over like 40 some yards. Half the season, he was way over top of this. He had 711 yards last year. That on average over 17 games, the yardage that's 27.5 there. I mean, he was averaging 40, 50 yards a game. So I bet that. I bet that with 50 yards. I bet that with like 70 yards in different ways. And I tiered it to where you get better odds. And that's something we're going to discuss a lot more. We did well with Quentin Johnson. And then the main bet that I really liked yesterday was Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey, 71.5 yards was absolutely absurd to me. I thought that bet was something that I was going to use a ton, and I did when we take a look at the open bets.
Yeah, the under over being 71.5, right?
Yeah, 71.5. So he has to go over 72 yards for you to win the bet, right?
Right.
So last year, in his last 8 games played, he went over that yardage mark 7 times. He had multiple 100-yard games. The playoff game, he went for 186 yards. So if any human being that has an odd on any sports book, if you tell me that they are healthy and they have 7 of the last 8 times they played, they went over a line, I'm going to bet it every single time. And that's what we did here.
Right. Very good. Awesome. And then what do you got next as far as or where are we wanting to go into the Bills game now, or do you want I think you've got another video.
I think the Bills are probably a hot topic to talk about, so we can do
let's talk about them Buffalo Bills. So yeah, the Buffalo Bills. So what let me just recap, because this is the first episode, and it'll start to become for viewers as we gain viewers and you get used to what we're doing. It'll begin to make sense. Just kind of went through the bets that Dan, in preparation for this show, did for Thursday night, Friday night, and now we're going to be moving into the Bills games. Talk about
before we go into the Bills game here. All the stats and everything are completely going to be transparent.
Yeah.
I bet 41 units before this game on Thursday and Friday. 41 units. Gotcha. We have returned to us, and you'll see on FanDuel when I share it, 66 units, which is plus 25 units. And I still have 3 or 4 parlays that I bet on that have Ladd or Quentin Johnson in there that are one of 2 legs are already won.
Gotcha.
So we are way up
already.
Yep.
So looking at this Buffalo Bills game, now this is obviously what Bills fans, Bills Mafia, are passionate about, betting on our Buffalo Bills and kind of obviously the players that we like, the guys we fall in love with. But there's some questions coming into this football game. All the content creators, all the networks have been talking about it, kind of going in, the defense. For a moment there, we didn't know who was playing CB1, CB2, possibly CB3. Now we know that Christian Benford is going to play in this game. There's expectations that Strong is going to be the CB2, but we're not sure about Jamarcus Ingram. There's obviously questions on the defensive line. We also know from the Ravens standpoint, Mark Andrews is probably a guy that's wanting a little bit of revenge in this football game. So we're probably not going to want to touch him, is my guess. But what are you looking at in this game as far as things you want to see, things you want to bet? What do you like?
Well, I'll talk about what I don't like quick, because you had just mentioned it. I try to think about what each team is going to be doing, or if they've got an agenda. The Ravens have an agenda in Mark Andrews, right? The whole world thinks Mark Andrews is going to go off in this game. So most likely the line's not going to be great. And there's going to be a lot of bets on anytime Mark Andrews touchdown or for him to go off.
Right.
He very well may. They may just target him all day because they're pissed off that the Bills, that he dropped that ball, and they want to have their boy be happy that he got a little comeback, right?
Right.
But the Bills know this as well. Like, the Bills know that they're going to be force feeding Mark Andrews. So I would think it washes out a little bit. Even if it doesn't, I'm just not placing money on something that is that up in the air. There are a lot of things you can place money on. You don't have to bet something just because it's there. You can put your money on better odds or something that seems a little more solid than whether or not Mark Andrews goes wild or the Bills double cover him. We don't know.
Yep. And the weather in this game is not necessarily going to be a factor. It's going to be perfect football weather, right? I think mid-50s, no rain. It's supposed to rain a little bit during the day, like before the game. I think wind is actually not going to be a factor in this football game.
November tailgate weather. Yeah.
Yes, it's going to be a perfect night for football. But yeah, I think you've got a screen to share, and I think you want to start talking about just some of the bets that you're looking at in this Bills game.
All right, so the Bills game as a whole, we've got their game right here. I do not like betting on matchups that are very close and taking any popular bets. Let's start with the 4-leg same game parlay.
And these are just for those that can't see the screen that are listening in podcast form. It's the pre-populated parlays that FanDuel and the betting platforms give you. Hey, look at this one. Take a look. This is great. It's for you. And Dan's probably going to tell you it's
If
not.
you guys take any bit of advice from me whatsoever, it is stay away from this junk. It is that Vegas knows how to put the pretty bright lights all over everything and play on your heartstrings and what the public loves to cook up something that's trash and that you're going to lose. Plus 2,000 for these 4 people to get a touchdown. How often does a game happen where the exact 4 players score? I mean, very rarely are you going to get 4.
Yeah.
There's going to be a Josh Palmer touchdown in there. There's going to be maybe Mark Andrews scores.
Right. Who's not on this list?
Exactly. So they just took the 4 biggest stars, put them on here and be like, here, everybody doesn't know what they're doing. Press this button and lose. That's what they did. Don't do it.
Gotcha.
Going more
noted.
Yeah, that's going to be a theme here. Just if they're offering it to you like that, stay away. As far as this Bills game as a whole, I am looking for outliers. I may not have even touched this game if it wasn't the Bills. If I was a different fan, obviously I love the Bills. I kind of got to do something here, but I wouldn't probably touch this game at all because it's such a close matchup. I'm not looking for close matchups. I'm not going to bet over under on like the Super Bowl because that's a real close matchup. I'm going to look for something that's a little more bizarre that could happen. But in this situation, I think this game can go for, as far as the Ravens offense, can go one of 2 ways, right? Either Derrick Henry runs it down our throat and goes nuts. And in that situation, most likely Lamar doesn't go crazy, right? The other situation is we load the box and then Lamar goes off. Right. Now, injuries happen. Weird situations happen. Turnovers happen. But as a whole, that's likely what it goes, one way or the other.
Right.
And so I'm looking for outliers that pay me a lot of money if it happens. I don't want to win one unit if I bet a unit, if I put it on the game going over. I want to win 10, 15, 20 units if it goes the way I think it could. And that's what we have here with the Bills game. So if we go over to the rushing in this game, rushing props, a situation that absolutely could happen. 80 yards over under seems like maybe something Derrick Henry would do. But in the playoffs last year, we loaded the box. He didn't come close to that.
Right.
In the regular season, we didn't. He ran for 199 yards. So 2 games ago, he went for 199 yards against us, right? So it's possible that he goes nuts. Let's go to Derrick Henry alternate rushing. You go all the way down here, and the max bet they're even allowing is 175 plus yards, plus 1,500. Right. So if you bet 1 unit, you win 15. You can parlay that with other things. It's getting a little wild. Sure. But if you bet 1 unit here, you win 15. And then 150 yards is a massive difference from 175. That's plus 880. So again, I'm looking for outliers. I'm looking for things that are realistic in the game that pay me a lot. I took this bet for our futures and for what's still happening for this week out of the rest of our $100. I took that, and then I took the complete other end of the spectrum. I went over to the quarterback props, and like I said, with Lamar Jackson, he's either going to get like a marginal game or nothing, or if we let him throw the ball and load the box with 8 guys in the box, it's early in the season. Our secondary is not great at this point. We don't know. We have young safeties. Benford's a little dinged up. We're missing 2 of our top 3 corners. You go down to alternative Lamar Jackson passing yards. And I want to inform you guys how math matters a lot, and it's very simple. So his biggest bet they allow is 375 yards, and then they're allowing 350, 325 the whole way down. So I like this 350 yards plus 1,100. All that needs to happen in the exact scenario that is tomorrow night's game. If that game is played 11 times, Lamar Jackson throwing the ball versus the Buffalo Bills, that bet has to happen once. He has to get 350 plus yards 1 time out of 11 for this plus 1,100 to happen. And I think it happens more than once for sure. So I put a couple units on that. and I put a couple units on the plus 880 Derrick Henry.
Mhm.
I actually did something else that pays plus 10,000, where I thought to myself, well, if Lamar goes off, it's likely that Josh is either playing from behind or it's a shootout.
Right.
So I actually parlayed. If we go to open bets here, this is literally what I bet already for this game. You see the next thing I did, which was Josh Palmer. I'll explain in a second. I bet Derrick Henry the 175 yards, and I bet his 880.
At one unit. At one unit,
one
right?
unit, because it's a real long shot. But I look at this bet. It's a realistic chance, right, that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson go over 350 yards, because any shootout. Last year versus the Rams, Josh went over 400. Matt Stafford went over 500. One time out of 90 games, this would have to happen for that to be profitable.
Right, and that's a two unit bet that pays out 80 or 183 units.
Yep. And we get 100. We get 100 total a week. You play this game 10 times. I think this happens once, but you need it happen 1 out of 90 to be profitable. I think people just pick lines. They pick over under one thing, anytime touchdown here and there. I put in a ton of bets like this consistently, week in, week out, that are realistic to happen. I could lose 10 in a row, but then when the 11th one comes and it hits, I make a lot of money. And I'm going to teach you guys how to do it. Back up to the last thing I like for the Bills game. You tell me somebody's new, somebody's coming up. Let me go up to Josh Palmer here. This is what I did. New wide receiver playing with the MVP of the league. Nobody knows what he's going to do, but he's got great odds. Great odds for touchdowns. That's all I care about, right? Last year, Mac Hollins went for a whole bunch of touchdowns, right? Did anybody think that was going to happen? No. So I don't really like the anytime touchdowns, but I don't like them with stars because they're bad odds. But he gets basically 4-1 if he scores one touchdown. You telling me that Josh Palmer isn't going to score a touchdown every 4 games as the starting wide receiver? He's Josh Allen. So I took that. And then a real outlier bet. I like really good odds. Say he gets 2 touchdowns in this game. Not very likely, but could happen. You're getting 40-1.
Right.
That's incredible. You're telling me a number 1 receiver, number 2 receiver, whatever we're considering him, that has Josh Allen as their quarterback isn't going to have a 2 touchdown game at least 1 in 40 times? That's what I'm looking for. And those are the bets I put in for the Bills game.
That's a nice outlier right there. Let's we got about 10 minutes left in this show for you guys. We got a couple bets left we want to do. One of the bets that we want to do every week is the overreaction bet of the week, which is the thing that you are, I don't want to say over the moon about, but the thing that you're excited about.
It's week 1. This is a Bills Mafia show. All right, let's placate, play a little devil's advocate too. My overreaction, the name of the network. You like how we put that in there?
I like it.
The overreaction of the entire year and also week 1 is stay away from Josh Allen. Do not bet your money on Josh Allen for anything that isn't crazy odds. Do not take the obvious bets of anything for Josh Allen. There are futures bets, like we explained earlier, on Josh Allen right now that are basically even money if Josh Allen rushes for 12 touchdowns, right?
Right.
In the MVP season last year, our hero Josh Allen rushed for 12 touchdowns, right? That is an MVP season, what's supposed to be near his best. And now they're putting the odds at even money for him to get 12. So he has to get more than his MVP season for you to win.
Right.
And the reason Vegas does this is because he's a superstar. Josh Allen's name is sexy. So they know the public's going to bet on him. They skew lines completely nowhere near our favor. It's for Vegas to make money off the public. So I fade the public. It's called fading. Stay away from those sexy picks like that with Josh Allen. I'll show you some examples. But don't bet on Saquon Barkley. Don't bet on Jalen Hurts. Don't bet on Derrick Henry anytime touchdown. They take those odds and they make him awful. So there are 17 games in a season, right? He had 12 last year. If you go to
touchdowns.
this,
12 touchdowns.
He had 12 rushing touchdowns last year.
Right.
It's even money right now if he hits 12 this year. It would need to be even money. It would need to be plus 140. He would need to go 17, average 17 touchdowns per season for that to be worth your time. Look at this bet. It's minus 110 for him to score a touchdown. He had 12 last year. He needs to average 17 in a year for that to be even money and have more for it to be worth your time. They're making that look terrible. Derrick Henry minus 155. That's simple math. 17 games in a season. He would need to score over 31 rushing touchdowns in a year for this to be worth betting. Awful bet. Don't do it.
Bet.
Absolutely awful bet. But I'm fading Josh Allen. I hate to do it, but I thought that was the best way to educate you guys on stay away from stars.
Yeah.
Vegas knows how to trick the public. Don't button push on those hot, sexy picks like that. No.
Go with that. Yeah. Stick to the stuff with the better odds. The next one is the underreaction bet of the week. What you got for us for that?
Underreaction. These are players that aren't sexy at all, but just makes sense for them. I've got all the bets up that I'll have in 1 second for everything that we did for the rest of this week. And I have two players that are both wide receiver ones. Both of them are playing defenses that I don't expect to really do much. And both of them have very low lines for a wide receiver one with relatively decent quarterbacks or guys who throw the ball downfield, which is really what we care about here. So I'll find it on here. First one's Jerry Jeudy, and the second one is Jacoby Myers. Neither of those names are sexy. They're both wide receiver one. Let's see if we could find Jerry Jeudy's line. Jerry Jeudy's line was 60.5. It's in here somewhere. We bet it. Jacoby Myers right here. We'll talk about Jacoby Myers' line, which we already have hit a parlay with him and Quentin Johnson for 40 yards at plus 180. So we're doing great on him.
We're halfway home.
Yeah, more than halfway because that was the hard one. That was the hard one to hit. The easy one, Jacoby Myers.
Right, halfway home on a 3-unit bet.
So 51.5 yards, Jacoby Myers. Let's go over some Jacoby Myers stats for you guys. Last year, Jacoby Myers, for the last 5 games of the year, smashed 40 yards. He had over 1,000 yards rushing last year. That was against very good starting cornerbacks. He's in the same division as the defensive player of the year covering him.
1,000 receiving yards last year.
Receiving yards, yes.
Yeah, you said rushing. Yep, no worries.
Wrong position.
Yep, no worries.
51.5 yards. Christian Gonzalez is out of the game. They kept the line. It makes no sense to me. Christian Gonzalez is the best corner, one of the best corners in the league. He's absolutely the best corner on the Patriots. He's out. I don't know another corner they have. I don't. They're in our division.
Right.
That's a great line. And I tiered it a little bit to be able to make more if he goes. So say he goes for 190 yards and you just bet 51.5. You still only make 1-to-1 basically.
Right.
So I bet things tiered. I'll put a couple more units on and parlay the normal line because I think that's a lock usually if I bet it. But then I'm going to bet 70 yards. I'm going to bet 90 yards, and then I'll bet like 120. And that 120 is going to give me like 15-1. And that's crazy. That happens all the time. But nobody takes these like not sexy picks.
Right. So the overreaction bet, the bet that you want to stay away from is the bad odd Josh Allen stuff. Don't get caught up in the hype and the love affair that we have with Josh Allen, even though Dan is wearing a Josh Allen jersey currently. The underreaction, the not sexy pick, which is the picks that you want. Dan is telling you what you would call it, Jerry Jeudy and Jacoby Myers. And then let's move straight into the hammer pick of the week, the hammer bet of the week. What it was going to be, as we kind of prepped for this show, it was going to be Ladd McConkey, who you showed you went kind of all in on.
Ladd McConkey will always be this week's hammer of the week. If any of you guys follow me on social media, I put something out there yesterday leading into the game that I've never said before. That's how much I like this line. Yeah. Ladd McConkey, 71.5 yards he scared me a little bit. He had like 65 yards midway through like the third quarter. It was a lock at that point, and then it wasn't a lock till near the end.
Right.
But an ascending wide receiver, second year, who 7 of his last 8 games last year, he had over 80 yards. His line was 71.5. He had multiple games over 100. He had 186 yards in the playoffs. He was in perfect weather. They were going to be throwing the ball. It was so obvious he was going over that line. I parlayed him and a little bit Quentin Johnson all over the place.
Right.
And it hit, and we're going to win a lot.
So going forward for the rest of this weekend for Sunday and Monday, lock your hammer pick of the week.
Let's talk about another second-year wide receiver who everyone's putting money on, who sounds exactly the same as Ladd McConkey. Next big thing.
Brian Thomas Jr.?
Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah. All right. So I love Brian Thomas Jr. He's on half my fantasy football leagues. He's in a keeper league too. He's going to be great. I don't like him week 1.
Oh, you don't like Brian? Okay. All right.
Of course not. Why? He is playing J.C. Horn.
Oh.
So I took Myers because Christian Gonzalez, a top cornerback, is out. Brian Thomas Jr. is going to have J.C. Horn on him all game. He was the 8th overall pick in 2021. He's a top 5 corner in the league, maybe more, maybe higher up. I'm never touching a player. I don't care how bright the lights are on them. I'm never touching a player that has a top corner on them, no matter what. I would actually probably bet their wide receiver too. Who knows who that is? I don't really believe Travis Hunter's playing wide receiver all day. But so I didn't touch the game. I don't know who their wide receiver 2 is. And BTJ's being covered by J.C. Horn, didn't touch it.
Right. So do you have a hammer pick of the week outside of Ladd McConkey?
It was Ladd McConkey. The other one is, I do not understand this line. Minus 8.5, which means that the Denver Broncos have to win by 9 or more. It seems like such a sucker bet. I don't care. How on earth do they not just absolutely crush a rookie quarterback in Cam Ward in the Tennessee Titans? They look like a great team. They were the best defense in the league. Bo Nix is very ascending. People are picking him to be the best quarterback out of that draft all of a sudden.
Yep.
We'll see. But he looked good towards the end of last year. His stats were way up the second half of the season. A rookie quarterback is playing the best defense in the league week 1.
Week 1.
If he wins that game, take my money. If Cam Warren wins that game, you got it. All right, we're on to the next. But I hammered that all over the place. If you guys were looking at on that screen scrolling, I had them parlayed on everything I liked.
Love it. Awesome. So we've given you what? We've given you some Bills bets. Dan, I should say, has given you some Bills bets. We've given you the overreaction bet, the one to stay away from, the one that people are overreacting to, the underreaction bet, and then we've given you the hammer bet of the week. Before I get us out of here, any final thoughts, Dan?
This game specifically on Sunday, it's Christmas. The home opener every year is Christmas. I hate the matchup week 1. I'm happy to get it out of the way, though. It's just week 1 seems so heightened. But it's still week 1, guys. The Bills are going to be great. They're going to be in the playoffs. They could go there and stomp the Ravens. They might lose the game. They're not very healthy. I would never predict this game. I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm going to go and watch the game. I hope we win. We're going to have a great time. And then from week 2 on, we've got 5-6 weeks of we're just going to smoke the league, and we'll be right back on track.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into the first episode of Mafia Bets Week 1 of the 2025 NFL season on the Overreaction Buffalo Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. So good to have you guys with us. Be smart. If you're going to bet, make sure it's entertaining. It's not an addiction. Do the right thing. Make sure your bills are paid. Be responsible. And if you've got a problem, there's helplines and people out there that can always help you. But for me, for John, for Jerry, for all of us here at Overreaction, and Dan, go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.